Hi everyone, I'm Jeremy Gibson Bond and welcome back to the Unity Certified Programmer Exam Preparation course. In this video, we're going to be looking at the second part of the solution to the player ship movement and firing challenge. This video is going to focus on things like turret rotation and the actual firing of bullets. So let's start. So here we are in Unity. Let's start with the turret. I'm going to open up my player ship, and there's this turret rotator that was set up for you in this game object that we sort of created for you as a prefab. And in this turret rotator, you can see a child of the turret rotator is the asteroids turret 0 game object. And then in the turret rotator, I've added this turret point at mouse script. Let's take a look. This is a pretty straightforward script, but there's some fun stuff in here that I did with debugging that I want to show you. So let's just hit the script first, and then we'll go back to the cool debugging stuff. Every update, I say point at mouse. That's pretty straightforward. And then we go down to point at mouse. And what it does is it pulls in the mouse point 3D, which I'm defining as I take the main camera, do a screen to world point on it, take the input.mouse position, and then with input.mouse position and screen to world point, you need to give it a Z to push it back into the world. And I do that by multiplying vector3.back by the camera main transform position Z. So that just gives me a vector in the forward Z direction that is the same distance as the camera is back from the origin. And then I've got a 3D point where the mouse is, and I just tell this transform to look at the mouse point 3D. That's it. It is really pretty straightforward. And then as a child of this transform, the turret model itself will look at the mouse as well. So now that we've done that, I can show you it works. I can hit play, and you can see, sure enough, the mouse points there, and you can see that with the turret selected, that blue Z-axis, positive Z-axis, is pointing where the mouse is. But let's look at this fun debugging stuff now. So up here, I have commented out this pound define, debug, turret point at mouse, draw mouse point. I don't need all that text there, but it just makes sure that I know what I'm talking about when I'm looking at what this is. And when I uncomment that, now all this code that was commented out by these pound if statements, which you can see here, now it's commented out because it's green, is uncommented out. So it all comes back. So I delete that, and then you have to wait a second, and all that code comes back, including this code down here, which is on draw gizmos code. So what this will do is on draw gizmos, it will set the gizmos color to white, and this is only if the application is playing, because on draw gizmos actually happens in the editor all the time, regardless of whether or not your game is playing, which can allow you to do some fun stuff with it. But we're doing it just while the game's playing right now. I'm going to set the color to white, and then I'm going to draw a white wireframe sphere where the mouse point is with a radius of 0.2. And then I'm going to draw a line from the center of this turret point at mouse to the mouse point 3D. And so I'm going to save this code. I'm going to go back to Unity. And now you're going to see that draw mouse point shows up as a thing I can check. And if I hit play, and then I check draw mouse point, you'll see that now in the scene pane, it's drawing where the mouse point is and the line to it. And if I turn on gizmos here, you'll see that it will do it in the game pane as well. And this right here, that's the directional light that you're seeing there. Okay, cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to turn that off, because once I'm done testing, I don't need it anymore. So I'm just going to do 2 forward slashes to comment it out and save, and then you'll see that all of that is now commented out again. So the next thing we're going to do is bullet firing. That happens from the player ship, and you probably saw this earlier here in update. If the cross-platform input manager has a get button down of fire 1, which is our mouse button 0. I know that 0, 1 thing's a little confusing, but that's generally how it is. Then it will call the fire method here. And so we call the fire method, and that's going to get the direction of the mouse, and this is separate from the turret rotator because it's such a fast thing to do. There's no reason for like this to ask the turret rotator where the mouse is. So it gets this information from the mouse about where it is, instantiates a bullet, and then it points the bullet at the mouse point with the transform.lookAt. And what this does is it tells the bullet what direction it needs to move in, and then the bullet itself sets its movement. So let's do that. So we go to the bullet, and the bullet requires a rigid body. It requires an off-screen wrapper, which we'll talk about in the next video. And then it, on start, it sets its parent to bullet anchor. So bullet anchor is this thing that I have here, and the effect is that the bullets are all sorted under bullet anchor in Unity. Let's take a look. So I hit play. And now you'll see in the hierarchy, bullet anchor does not exist. But as soon as I fire the first bullet, bullet anchor is created. And now I can fire a bunch of bullets, and they're all underneath the bullet anchor here. And I actually have to like catch it in 2 seconds. I have to catch it in 2 seconds. So you can see all the bullet clones they're created and then destroyed, right? And all of them are sorted again under bullet anchor. It just cleans up my hierarchy and makes it easier to look at. And I don't have bullets just kind of randomly all over the hierarchy like I might if I didn't put them all underneath this anchor. And this anchor is an empty game object at the origin with a scale of 1. So it doesn't do anything to the bullets. It just gives them kind of a thing to be under. The cool thing here is when I, in line 25, access the bullet anchor, it goes up to the static protected transform bullet anchor that is a property, and it gets it. And it says if underscore bullet anchor is null, then create a new game object named bullet anchor and take its transform and put that transform into underscore bullet anchor. So that's when the bullet anchor is generated, and then return that transform. And then from then on, anytime it does a get, bullet anchor is not null, so it just returns the bullet anchor. Then down here, it invokes the destroy me method with a lifetime of 2. That's a public field that you can set, of course, but destroy me will be invoked to fire in 2 seconds and just destroy the bullet game object. And then finally, it sets the velocity of the bullet, which takes the bullet speed and multiplies that by its own transform.forward, which we know is pointing at the mouse, and that's how the bullet sets its own speed. So that's it for the bullet and the turret, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.